York Jets are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers this Sunday. And coming up on today's show, we'll be diving into the depth charts that the New York Jets just put out. My name is Patrick Seatman, and welcome into the Jets Report. So there are a couple surprising choices here from the New York Jets coaching staff as Mason Taylor. Is he not going to start week one versus the Pittsburgh Steelers? This would be a shocker to me. And then also Allen Lazard. Will he be the starting wide receiver next to Garrett Wilson? And then who will be RB1? Braylon Allen, Breece Hall, Isaiah Davis. We'll talk about it all on today's show. But before we do so, make sure you guys are subscribed. We're having our week one sub battle versus Steelers talk here at Chat Sports. They have over 90,000 subscribers. We just have just under 9,000. So a little David versus Goliath story here. So if you guys want to help us beat them in total subscribers before kickoff this Sunday, hit that subscribe button. And we also be going live for the game an hour before kickoff. So subscribe and tune in then. All right, so no shockers here for the Jets QB depth chart. Justin Fields obviously listed as the first stringer, and Tyrod Taylor listed as the second stringer. Now, all reports are indicating Tyrod should be good to go. They will still have Brady Cook as the emergency third quarterback on the team. But if Fields were have to go down or miss a play or series or two, it would be Tyrod stepping in. But very excited to see Justin Fields. Hopefully proves a lot of the haters and the doubters wrong this Sunday. But the running back room, no shockers. Obviously, Breece Hall listed as RB1, but then they did have Braylon Allen RB2, Isaiah Davis RB3, and you also throw in there Andrew Beck at the fullback position and Kene Wangu just being that special teams return guy in this room. Now, if you guys have been watching the show for a long time, you guys know I'm a massive Braylon Allen fan, and I think the Jets just listing this out, honestly, if they could list it out like this, they would probably just have RB1, Breece Hall, and Braylon Allen, RB2 or 3, Isaiah Davis. But I fully expect Braylon Allen to play a massive role in this game, especially in short yardage and goal line situations. Him just being the more physical running back, he is so good at falling forward and getting every single yard possible out of each run. You know, rushing yards over expected is one of my favorite stats when evaluating running backs. It's next-gen stats. They determine how many yards a running back should get on any given play, and I could see Braylon Allen getting the most and being one of the top guys in that category this upcoming season. But, hey, Breece Hall listed as a starter, but that could honestly change after a couple series this Sunday. But I'm hoping also Breece Hall bounces back and looks better than what he did last year in the preseason. But the wide receiver room here, no shockers. You obviously got Garrett Wilson, the true X on the perimeter. Jets will line him up all over the field. One thing I thought that was interesting during the preseason, this was specifically in the Packers game, they had Garrett Wilson going a lot in motion, and I wonder if that's going to be something that, you know, carries over to the regular season. But Josh Reynolds, wide receiver 2, no shocker. And then you got Allen Lazard at the slot. My guy, Tyler Johnson, I still wish he was running the slot spot for the New York Jets offense, but I fully expect to see Arian Smith out there at least a couple of times. Maybe it's for some of these deep shots if the Jets are able to run the ball successfully, take a play-action deep shot to Arian Smith. But that's how the wide receiver room shakes out right here. But the biggest shocker by far on this depth chart, and honestly, I just don't understand why. Jeremy Ruckert is listed as the tight end 1. If I was making the depth chart for the Jets, Jeremy Ruckert wouldn't be on here. I would not have him on the 53-man roster. Now, obviously, he's got the connection with Justin Fields, dating back to Ohio State, so I understand that. But why is Mason Taylor listed as a tight end 2? I wonder if this is gamesmanship by Aaron Glenn, but also I don't know what types of gamesmanship you would have there by just listing Mason Taylor as a tight end 2. I would still fully expect Taylor to be the tight end 1 on Sunday, but if we're just going off the depth chart, maybe Jeremy Ruckert is the tight end 1, but even Stone Smartt looked good in the preseason. Why is he 2 spots below Jeremy Ruckert? That makes no sense. And also Jelani Woods, 6'7", he could be a red zone threat for this team. I don't even know why Ruckert's on this ball club, but maybe they see something that we're not seeing every single day at practice, but I still fully expect Taylor to get some action and some heavy action week 1 of the season. Now, the offensive line. So the Jets, when they did put out this depth chart, this was before the AVT injury, and they originally had Joe Tippmann and Josh Myers both listed as the first-string center. But now after the AVT injury, I'm assuming they're going to move Joe Tippmann to right guard. Josh Myers will be the center. Aaron Glenn hasn't confirmed anything just yet, but I would be stunned if they go a different direction. Like, if they just say, hey, Xavier Newman, you're going to play right guard, and we're going to keep Tippmann at center. So I would be kind of shocked if Myers isn't starting and the center for Justin Fields this upcoming week. He was great for the Packers this past season, played in over 1,000 snaps. He looked pretty solid. So even though this AVT injury is devastating, you can still manage it. They still have a solid offensive line. I mean, all 5 of those guys, you know, they're just solid. Like, there's no glaring holes even after this injury on that O-line. But I want to ask you guys this, because I think there's a big three on the New York Jets roster. Quinton Williams, Sauce Gardner, and Garrett Wilson. You guys got to pick one, though. Who is the best player on the Jets? For me, I'm going to go Sauce. I think he's going to retake the crown of the best cornerback in the league this upcoming season. But also, you could go Quinton or Garrett Wilson. But just curious what you guys got to say. Who is the best player on the Jets roster? Now, coming up next, we'll dive into the defensive side of the football for this team. Aaron Glenn and Steve Wilks, they need to have a massive, massive year. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But before we do so, today's episode of the Jets Report is brought to you by Prize Picks. And you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And if you guys download that, plug in that promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And Prize Picks, it's super simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in. It's also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40-plus states. California, Texas, and Georgia. They also put their users first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, and MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Now, I already got a lineup cooked up for Week 1, Jets, Steelers, and if you guys want to fade my picks or ride as my picks, just make sure you do so at PrizePicks. But I am going with Aaron Rodgers, going to throw an interception. I'm going to take the less on Justin Fields' passing attempts, and then even though the depth chart says Taylor's the tight end too, I really doubt that. So I'm going to take his more on 3.5 targets. I think TJ Watt and Will McDonald will get home and sack the quarterback. So if you guys want to download the Prize Picks app today, please do so. And when you do, plug in promo code CLNS. We'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Shout out to Prize Picks, though, for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, let's talk about the defensive side of the football here. Obviously, I'm most excited to watch Justin Fields this Sunday, but I'm also excited to see if this Jets defense can bounce back with some blue chippers at every single level. Quinton, you got 2 good linebackers. You got Sauce in the secondary, so I'm very excited to see how they're going to play. But this defense has got a lot of potential, and I think it all starts up front for this group. And the Harrison Phillips trade was absolutely fantastic. I mean, you got one of the best run-stuffing defensive tackles in the league. He's great at two-gapping, and Harrison Phillips actually had a quote today, or a couple days ago when you guys are seeing this, and he was talking about Sherwood and Quincy, and he was just saying those guys get downhill at such an elite level. And this was, Phillips coming from the Vikings, where they had good linebacker play too. So it's cool him showing them some love. But no shockers here. Will McDonald, Quinton, Harrison Phillips, and Jermaine Johnson, the starters for the defensive line. Now the edge department here, first stringers, again, no shockers. Will McDonald, Jermaine Johnson. Second stringers, Tyler Barron, Michael Clemons, and then Braiden McGregor as the third stringer. I wonder how much snaps Jermaine's going to play, because you don't love the options behind him. Now, obviously, Michael Clemons, he's a polarizing player on this team. I'll be curious if these guys are playing 100% of snaps. I doubt it for Jermaine, but Will should have a monster season, and he should be playing majority of the time. So that's how the edge department's looking. And then the linebacker room here, solid as well. They did have McCray-Ball listed as a first stringer, so I am curious if maybe it's going to be a lot of 4-3 looks for Steve Wilks in this defense. They got 3 linebackers on the field. So that was an interesting note. But also you got Jamien Sherwood, obviously, and Quincy Williams. And then Cam Jones, you picked up from the Chiefs. And then Kiko as another second stringer there. But this is one of the better units in the National Football League. But it all starts with the top 2 guys, Sherwood and Quincy Williams. They're great at just stopping the run, filling gaps. They're both play very, very aggressive. And when you're going against the Steelers offense, they're going to try to get downhill, be the more physical team. So these two can combat that. So we'll see if they do that this Sunday. But the depth chart here for the cornerback room, Sauce Gardner, Brandon Stevens, and Michael Carter, all starters there. And then you got A.Z. Thomas, Stiggers, and Isaiah Oliver being the backups. Now, I will say I like this room for the Jets. Do I love it? Probably not. But again, it all comes down to Sauce. Like, if he gets back to that top corner in the league play, it changes everything for this defense, because you can literally just say, Sauce, you got that side of the field, shut it down. Or you could put him on the number 1 wide receiver. You say, just shut him down. So he will play a massive part in this defense. And also Brandon Stevens, I got a feeling he's going to prove me wrong, because I wasn't a fan of that contract. So I could see him, he played good during the preseason. He's playing next to Sauce Gardner, so his job is a lot easier when you're playing next to an all-timer like Sauce is. So I got high expectations for him. Now, One thing I thought was interesting with the safety depth chart, we just had Isaiah Oliver listed as the backup nickel corner, but they also had him at free safety as well as a second stringer. So maybe he's a guy that Glenn and Wilkes like his versatility and they could just line him up all over the field. But man, Tony Adams, Andre Sisco, probably the weakest position group for the New York Jets. If either of those guys don't play well enough, you got to watch out for Malachi Moore potentially taking their spot. And, I do have full faith in Cisco. I think he's one of the better ball hawking safeties in the NFL. And, with how good we think this front four is going to be, he will have opportunities a whole lot this season. So he's got to capitalize on them. And, hey, I had Rodgers throwing a pick. Maybe it goes to Cisco. I'm hoping it does. But I got faith in this Jets defense really being one of the better units in the league this upcoming year. But hey, we're almost at game day. You guys, final chance to get your score predictions down below in the comments section. Let me know what you got. I got 17-13 in favor of the Jets. You guys let me know your thoughts on the game. Predict the score, Jets versus Steelers. We'll see you guys next time. Go Jets.